I'm admitting all. Om Shanti, welcome all of you to the Values Workshop number 103 on sensitivity. And as always, before we begin, we'll spend a few moments reflecting on this value, asking oneself, am I really sensitive towards people's needs and necessities? Am I sensitive enough to pick up what they need? And am I sensitive enough to feel what they are going through? Sensitivity indeed is a very subtle value. And from today's workshop, let's try to explore this in detail. That what is it really to be sensitive towards people's needs and feelings? And obviously, we are not looking here at sensitivity as a weakness. That is, I am sensitive, I don't like this, or so on and so forth. So obviously, we are not looking at that aspect. So with this prelude, let's begin. And as always, a big thanks to all the participants who have joined on time. We'll have few more joining as the workshop proceeds. A big thanks to all the interpreters and the recorders and our team of facilitators, Sister Anu from Canada, Vancouver, West Coast, and Sister Priyal from Nagpur, Central India. So with this, let's begin. As always, the icebreaker video, I'm sure you all have seen this before as well. I remember in one of our workshops, we have shown this, but I felt it very appropriate for this sensitivity workshop as well. So enjoy the video and see what insights you gain related to sensitivity. I'll start. In the chat box, we have a few minutes to take chat box sharings. There are many more participants who have joined. Apologies, you all missed the first half maybe. But it was a beautiful relationship between two sisters. For those who hadn't seen the video right from the beginning, it's for them. Yes, so Sister Rena, thank you for always being the starter. So she's saying hatred destroys sensitivity. Of course, yes, indeed, very true. And if you look at it from the sister who was coming from outside, what was her sensitivity towards her? Okay, Linda is saying terrific video, gratitude. Could we please, yes, we are sharing the link as we speak in a few minutes. So don't worry, you'll get the link. If you could specify what you learned from the video related to sensitivity. What was the other sister who came from outside? I'm not trying to compare both the sisters, but who was sensitive? Was she also sensitive towards her sister the sister for coming from inside. Okay, love gives all, right? Rehna Bhen is again saying forgiveness is a part of sensitivity. Yes, I remember it was beautiful that initially it was monster, STER, then it was covered by sister, then forgive and live, something it came there, and then love was replaced by like. So it was beautiful. It was very fast though, that how the emotions in the small girl made her undergo such a big havoc. And then she realized that that's not right. Yes, so beautiful sharings. Well, anyway, so we'll go on to, I'm sure you all have taken the message appropriately. And the last one is hatred took her fully, tried to fight it, but could not. But I think in the end, she did fight because the monsters went away, disappeared. And the sister from outside didn't realize that she had hatred. Being oversensitive can lead to insensitivity. Wonderful. Wow. Thank you, Sister Denise. So I think over to Sister Anu for the first activity. Thank you for your sharings.
Thank you, Brother Manoj. Thank you, everyone. Yes, wonderful video and wonderful sharing. So very good start, very powerful start. So let's move on with our workshop as we always do.
Vamos a movernos con nuestro taller como siempre hacemos.
I think, Miguel, brother, you have to wait after this workshop, after this exercise, you will be added.
Okay.
No problem. So yeah, Spanish translation will also begin right after this. So as we always do, the very first thing is to explore that value that we are exploring in our lives, practically how it exists. So the first exercise that we'll reflect on is my sensitivities towards others. Yes, let's check how sensitive are we for others, and how did it feel, and what are the benefits it brought. So the reflection question is, looking at your life journey so far, jot down instances of your sensitivities towards others. As you think about it, one or two people may come in front of you, how you were or you are sensitive towards them, as you interact with them, as you think about them, as you are around you, they are around you. And then reflect on what are the advantages sensitive when you are sensitive to us, what are the advantages you experience. So we'll take a minute to reflect on these two questions, then we'll take the share. Beautiful question, isn't it? We are very sensitive, but how do you become sensitive towards people around you? And when you have been sensitive, what are the advantages you have seen or felt? So I hope you have written down some memory that or experiences. So we would love to hear from you. So please, if you're ready, you can unmute and speak. And anyone who likes to. Yeah. Jolie says empathy towards their story is the benefit. And then we can go deeper into what is empathy. Empathy, that we are able to be there for them, bring benefit to them. So we can bring empathy when we are sensitive to others. Anyone else would like to unmute and speak? Were you sensitive to someone around you? And in a positive way sensitive? That's what I'm sure we'll explore, or again, throughout the whole workshop, we'll explore. It was so beautifully shared by Sister Manda last week. Oversensitivity can lead to insensitivity, as we saw in the previous message. So it's not about the negative way, but sensitive to people around. So I see some chat messages. Priyal says, being sensitive helps understand the other person instead of judging them. Thank you, Priyal. Again, Jolie says, understanding, compassion, help. That's empathy, right? Empathy. Anyone else? We would love to hear from you. Would like to unmute and speak and share? Yes, Rehna, sister, you want to share?
Yeah, sensitivity for me is about being sensible as well. And it's not just about what the self needs or the others need. It's also about what is right or wrong, okay, in all three aspects of thoughts, words, and action. So when I see someone whose thoughts, word, or action is not doesn't seem right based on the direction given to us by the Supreme, I warn them. Okay, but the challenge is warning them in the right way. So I mean, many instances have been there of such a warning. And if the other person is sensible enough to catch it, then they get empowered. Otherwise, they just continue. So, which is anyway, I did my part, so I can be happy about it. So, the other person, the ball is in the other person's court, whether they want to follow it or not.
Right.
They get empowered if they are sensible enough, and I did my part. I can be happy about it.
That's really good. So to know that I have to do my part, right? And I did, and they take the cue or not. What would be the advantages?
Advantages, if they follow the instruction, they get empowered. Okay, they get more enlightened. And the advantage for me is I did my part, so I get the marks for that.
And you get the marks. What does that mean? You feel contented, happy,
Right.
Satisfied, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, the advantages for both. Being sensitive to others. Beautiful. Thank you, Rehana sister. Anyone else would like to, who is inspired to unmute and speak?
Shanti, I just wanted to say that, yeah, it involves compassion, and then you also have to be sensible and not be going oversensitive to somebody who's going on and on about some problem. But I just noticed that Dr. Manoj had something to say. It's above empathy towards their story from Jolie in the chat.
Okay, I see.
Maybe he wants to share.
Yeah.
No, I would rather give a chance to other people to share. Thank you.
Yeah, so Dr. Manoj, brother, has written in the chat that breaking out of a bad news about a chronic illness to a patient's parents' advantages, being kind and compassionate. And that helps them to move through the difficult time. Thank you. Anybody else would like to share? I'll read from the chat, definitely, but it is empowering when you share, and that inspires. Love to hear your voice, your story. Until you decide, let me read from the chat. Amit says sometimes sensitivity from my end is taken for granted. As Rena shared, that could be, but we have to know why we are doing it. The other people may take the cue or not, but I get my marks or I take home satisfaction, contentment. I think that we are further exploring in the workshops. Thank you, Amit. So people may take us for granted or take advantage of us. Linda says the insensitivity to which the doctors gave me the prognosis for my daughter in 1970s was so insensitive. I went into shock. Whilst they were wrong, the insensitivity was life-changing for my family. So, right, so we are remembering many instances of our life where insensitivity can really impact life negatively. Rishali says being affectionate and taking responsibility of them, their weakness is neglected. We feel affectionate, we take responsibility of them. Weakness can be neglected, but that's how the empathy comes, and we can help through changing any weakness or empowering them to know and change. Jolie says again that it's also about being loving, that is being sensitive. So many values we are seeing, being compassionate, empathetic, we empower them, we are loving, we take responsibility, help them out. So that are all the positive sides. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Anything more coming? Where are you sensitive to others? And what are the benefits, advantages of that to others or yours?
Okay.
Sister Priya.
May I?
Yes,
Okay.
Priyal sister, your volume is very low. You wanted to share something?
Is that?
Yeah, maybe we can.
Yeah. Is that?
It's going off and on. I think we can still do it with it. Try, speak. Yeah.
What I feel is when somebody is sensitive, they are showing that there's a feeling of belonging. So that makes a person very comfortable being around those people. So that there's a sense of belonging when there is sensitivity.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
If when I am sensitive to somebody, so that is the positive way, empathetic, wanting to help, we are loving, then they feel the sense of belongingness. They're comfortable, share or open up to me. That's how the help or benefit can progress for both. Thank you, Priyal. I think let's try to wrap it up. So I can request Deepak Bhai to show a little bit of the sharings if you have written it. Rishali says advantage for others is they feel safe, motivated, help them to face the difficult time through which they are. Right. So the advantages of being sensitive to others is kindness, being compassionate in the difficult times, such as the bad news of chronic illness, when to tell the parents of the patient. We have to be kind and compassionate so that can help them. Empathy towards others' story. Being sensitive helps understand the other person instead of judging them. That's a beautiful benefit. And it is about myself, as Rehana shared, that they can take the help or not, in the sense of in a loving way, in a subtle way, our presence, but we being sensitive, we help them out, being there for them, and we take home satisfaction. So yeah, sometimes the negative side also, we brought it up, that oversensitivity or being sensitive, other people can take advantage of us. Should we stop being sensitive? Maybe that's what we can explore. Yeah, sensitivity is also about being sensible, and also warning the other when they are in wrong direction of thoughts and empowering them. Insensitivity by doctors in the older time was hard, as one of the participants shared, but maybe it is changing now. But insensitivity also impacts life. And being affectionate and taking responsibility of others is being sensitive, and we can help them out through weakness to change them. And being loving and making others feel belonging to us. These are the few advantages of being sensitive. Thank you everyone for the wonderful sharings. Now I'll hand it over to Brother.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for all of your sharings. Beautiful, sensitive sharings, I must say. And I can see many new participants today, many people new sharing as well. Probably they are not opening up, they are feeling very inhibited. So please feel free to share. We have one more exercise after this meditation. And also, before I move on into the meditation, people who are new and who have joined new and want to continue to be a part of the series and want to receive the review materials, which we'll be sending out in the form of emails. And if you are comfortable sharing your WhatsApp numbers to everyone, please do that in the chat box. And if not to everyone, you can just share in your details, WhatsApp numbers and emails to Sister Anu, so that she can keep a track of that. And then we can send out the relevant reading materials, which we do after the workshops. So let's move on now to the meditation, and hope I'm not cutting off. I'm switching on the music a little bit to give you a different feel. And as always, let's sit back and let's try to move into this subtlety that I am a peaceful being, the beautiful, conscient energy that I am, which is innately Om Shanti. That means I, the being, am naturally and innately peaceful. And the more and more I dive deep into this subtlety of the peacefulness which I am, I start becoming more and more sensitive, first towards myself. I'm now able to sense or feel my natural innate nature. Which in turn helps me to become sensitive towards others' feelings. I now realize that I am not this body, but the energy. I can easily detach from this body. And sense how my mind functions. Let me first be sensitive towards what am I thinking, my thoughts. The more I create pure thoughts about the self, the more I can be sensitive towards others. So let me stay in this subtle consciousness of I, the being. And as I practice this more often, my sensitivity towards others increases. And with this preparation at a mental level, which all of us have experienced in the past few minutes, let's now move on to the action planning activity of today. I'll stop sharing the screen and over to Sister Priyal for the same. Thank you.
Thank you for that insightful meditative experience, Brother Manoj. I hope I'm audible now. Is my voice clear?
Yeah. It's better than before. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's now move on to the action planning exercise. After having experienced such an insightful meditation, now let's just think about a few ways in which we can increase our sensitivity. So action planning is all about creating practical ways of implementing that value into our lives. I'll just share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, it's coming up a bit delayed. It's there.
Let's just list down a few ways by which we can enhance our sensitivity towards others at our home as well as our workplace. Take a few minutes.
Maybe you want to do it in the full sky.
Another moment, then we'll share. Is there anybody who would like to share? Please unmute yourself. You can also write your sharings in the chat box, but it will be helpful for everyone to hear you out. Anybody? Yes, Sister Raina, please go ahead.
So I think to improve our sensitivity and sensibility, it's about being non-judgmental. I'll tell you why. I am on this online platform where people call us to discuss their emotional issues. And I got one call from a person in eastern part of India, and he told me that he's not married, and his wife, he was married, his wife died, and it was an accident in which her dress caught fire while she was working in the kitchen, and he had to spend a lot of money to cure her, but she didn't make it, and she lost her life. So now, after a few years, he's trying to get married again. So any alliance which is coming to him, and when he says that, okay, this is what happened, they all tell him, आपने ही उसको जलाया होगा. मतलब you must have caused something, did something because of which she died, and he's very depressed about that. So such cases, people don't want an answer from you. They don't need answer. They just want some sympathy and empathy and a non-judgmental attitude from you. And even if we try to tell them something based on the knowledge or anything, they're not willing to hear. So just be non-judgmental and hear them out is what I learned from that experience. So I think it's about being non-judgmental about other people's issues or what they have faced in life.
Wonderful. Wonderful sharing. Thank you for that. Is there anybody else who would like to share? Please unmute. Anybody? Gurpreet has written in the chat box that to have a mindset that people are not their behaviors. Every behavior has a context and each behavior has a positive intention. Wonderful. So having a mindset. So as was experienced in the meditation as well, that to be sensitive, to enhance your sensitivity, you have to first go within and enhance your sensitivity towards yourself. Wonderful. Anybody who would like to share? Sharings actually help us all grow and learn from each other's experiences. So it will be wonderful to hear from any one of you about your experiences. Anybody?
Hello,
Yes, Dr.
Shanti.
Geeta. Please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I was reflecting on this, and sensitivity is being sensitive is all about your personal happiness as well as spreading that happiness into the community, family, wherever you are living. Because being sensitive shows that you are a loving and caring person, and though your feelings are then whether they are reciprocated or not, you are content in yourself that, well, I have lived up to my expectations. That's what I understand from sensitivity.
Wonderful. That's another dimension of sensitivity, that oneself feels very content when one shows sensitivity towards other people. Wonderful. Anybody else who would like to share?
I think Anil Bhai wants to share. Maybe Anil, you can unmute yourself. I hope we have only one Anil.
Yeah,
Okay.
please go ahead. I think he is written in the chat box. So I'll share, I'll read a few sharings from the chat box. Okay, Joella says, Joel, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Listening to them in silence and being attentive to their needs. So that is how one can enhance the sensitivity. Wonderful. Anil says, you show that you care. Take out time for everyone and show compassion. Taking out time is another way of showing sensitivity. Goody says, no yoga, no contact without sensitivity. But the challenge is to balance, no disinterest, no hypersensitivity. Okay. Vrishali says we should know what reality is and the opinion of others. Accordingly, we should act. Okay. If you can enhance, like, just explain what has been written, Vishali, if you can just unmute yourself.
In the meantime, Vijay Bhai is unmuted. You can go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Om Shanti, my dear brothers and sisters. Please accept greetings of love, peace, and happiness, and a beautiful topic today on sensitivity. See, once we know the truth of life, that we all are souls, not these bodies, also we know that everybody is playing a role. So we are also know that we are children of Supreme God, energy. So everybody is a giver. You see around you the sun, the rivers, even this mic, even this video is giving us a possibility of giving to you, talking to you. So everybody is a giver. So whatever may be the conditions of the other soul, whatever may be the challenges in life, one cannot but be sensitive to others' requirements, because sensitivity means I must help others to come out of his problems. Sensitivity means we should not speak anything which can hurt others. Sensitivity means we are children, brothers and sisters. Mostly soul to soul connection is brothers. But since we are all brothers, we must help each other, we must cooperate each other. And if you give a good feelings, best wishes, everybody will come out of bad health, everybody will come out of the problems. So it is our duty to help others and be sensitive. Baba bless you all. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you
Om
for
Shanti.
sharing, Vijay Bhai. Okay, so being sensitive means to help and cooperate with a feeling of brotherhood inside. Wonderful. We can have one more sharing, so if anybody would want to go ahead and unmute. We have time for one more sharing.
If nobody is sharing, may I share?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Sensitivity has another dimension also, that we are touching somebody without really touching them physically. It establishes a direct bond with the person across, and that makes him or her open up. And sometimes, opening up and being available to the whatever movement or the challenge that is there in front of the other person is all that is needed. For him to go forge ahead to cope or come up to the expectations of self or others. That is, I wonder if I made myself clear.
Yes, you've made yourself clear, Sister Geeta, Dr. Geeta. Sensitivity helps the other person open up. Wonderful. Rishari had written, actually, I was talking about the burn case. People blamed him, hence I said that he knows the reality, not to be affected by others' opinion. Okay. Wonderful sharings. If we can have a summary of all the sharings before we move ahead. Okay. So what we have shared is being non-judgmental. How can we increase our sensitivity is by being non-judgmental. And then to have a mindset that people are not their behaviors, that they have a context. Every behavior has a context, and each behavior has a positive intention. Having that mindset. Listening to people in silence and being attentive to their needs can help us increase our sensitivity. By showing that you care, by taking out time for them, showing compassion will help others. We can enhance our sensitivity that way. We should know then sensitivity is helping each other and good wishes to all souls and feeling of brotherhood. Sensitivity helps the other person open up. No yoga, no contact without sensitivity. But the challenge is to balance between sensitivity, no non-disinterest, And also we have a few more sharings in the chat box. As Goody says, we need sensitivity to touch beauty. It is a real power. Give a feeling of joy and plenitude. Joella says, not taking the pain is a challenge for sensitive people. Goody says, we need sensitivity to touch and to catch. Wonderful. With all of these wonderful sharings, now this is the time to move ahead, and we over to you, Manoj.
So much. So we have our speaker with us already. She's been listening to your sharing since the past 5 minutes, I must say. And before I pass it on to her, I'll just take the summary sharing of what Sister Manda, who's another senior Raj Yoga teacher right from Oxford, the retreat center we have, GRC in UK, what she had to say about sensitivity last Saturday. So she said that sensitivity is basically the ability to recognize the feelings of others and also what they need. So it's basically two things, needs and feelings. And when she was saying the word catching, it reminded me here, someone in the chat box also mentioned about touching. So we really speak a lot about these two powers in the Raj Yoga classes at the Brahma Kumaris, about the catching power and the touching power. So again, if a person is sensitive towards others, he can really catch what he or she is going through and feel as well. And in some way or the other, it will touch him that yes. So touching and catching are very closely related here. It's important that the ability, this sensitivity, the ability can be effective only when we are able to catch and understand our own feelings. Again, it boils down to, as we did in the meditation for a few minutes, understanding ourselves, who am I, and feeling, trying to be sensible enough to know oneself. And then once I'm sensitive to who really I am, then I can be more sensitive towards others and stay away from self-pity. It's important to beware of your expectations, because sometimes we expect quite a bit from people. Oh, I am so sensitive towards him. So we start expecting as well. But Sister Manda said that can actually hinder your ability to catch. So your catching power will decrease. So be non-expectant. And as was being discussed, Sister Reina was again and again saying, be non-judgmental as well. Right. So I won't be going through each and every line because, as I said, we always try to give you all these reading materials later. It is just I'm trying to give you all a snapshot. Coming to another spiritual tool, I must say, we use this a lot in our values in healthcare, a spiritual approach, Vihasa workshops, listening. So it's not just casually hearing, but listening at a deeper level. It is a part of being sensitive towards others and also feeling. And again, it gives me a lot of joy in saying that all these values workshops and the Vihasa workshops, they touch us somewhere at an inner level and it stirs our feelings. And that's the reason we enjoy workshops more than the talks, because we're able to share those feelings with each other. Very important, as has been covered, and Sister Anu also mentioned that someone said here that if I'm being oversensitive towards someone, that is actually being insensitive towards self, actually, I must say. So that's the weakness here, that do not be oversensitive by giving a wrong kind of energy. And one can be overwhelmed by it. I myself can be overwhelmed and even transmit that energy to someone in front of me. So it is not good to be oversensitive. And remember that we can let go the weakness of sensitivity by cultivating strength. And what we say, the inner strength, the power, the resilience that can only come by more and more realizing the true inner self and connecting to the Supreme. And cultivating values, self-worth, respect, and kindness. And again, you all would be feeling that we again and again go towards meditation, because that's the crux. We all feel here and we are taught here that inculcating all these values becomes more and more easy. Listening is good enough, listening to the knowledge, But the more we practice meditation and connect ourselves to the Supreme Being, we get a chance to go within and check ourselves. How much are we really inculcating that virtue? So sensitivity, Sister Manda also said, that is associated with subtlety. And that subtlety is nothing but the soul conscious vision which we have for each other, which Vijay Bhai was alluding to, that the brother-brother feeling, which means basically, I am a soul and even you are a soul. So on a soul-to-soul level, we have these, we call it bhai, the brotherly feeling. It could be a sisterly feeling, no doubt about that. But on a soul level, we are just equal. It simply means what I'm trying to say. It's that simple. And stay in God's company, because God is the epitome of stillness. And if I really need to be sensitive to catch someone's feelings, I need to be still myself. And for that, I need to be connected to the ocean of stillness. And therefore, once we start receiving God's energy, we become very astute and become sensitive towards people. There is no point in being sensitive to what people need spiritually if you're not able to give what they need back to them, which means, I think the crux again here is spirituality. We really can't give people any physical things. But on a subtle level, if I am very spiritual and my SQ, my spiritual quotient is very high, automatically sensitivity will radiate in my behaviors towards them. Okay, so we have 10 more minutes. We'll take the questions. So the question here was, the word sensitivity comes from the word sense organs. So how can we connect these two things? So Sister Manda said that the connotation of senses here is probably because we are picking up the feelings through our sense organs. And we say the subtle faculties here, the subtle sense organs of the soul are the mind and the intellect, and the third being sanskars or the personality. So we really sense through these subtle sense organs. And obviously we have the physical ones. We see something through our eyes, we hear something through our ears, so on and so forth. So through that, then it goes inside whatever we are seeing and hearing, maybe touching as well physically. And then it translates into going inside and becoming more subtle. Another topic which is a hot favorite of people is, what is detachment? Is it being insensitive towards people? That is really thought to be, when you become more and more meditative, you become very detached from people. But that's not detachment. That is not the exact meaning of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean that you don't love or care. It just means that you know where to draw the line. That's what Sister Manda said, beautiful. People's expectations are based on what they've already experienced. And I should know where I should draw a line, in the sense I cannot be affected by people's stories, because if I start getting affected by what they are saying, I can't really help them. I may not be of any help for them, because I have become hypersensitive or oversensitive listening to their stories. So she said, it's a realization that I can only help you so much, and the rest you have to do yourself. And it's important that people should realize that we are there just to guide them, but it's their life journey. They have to do the rest. And to understand this as well, that they are supposed to do their part, also requires sensitivity. So it was a very deep answer which I felt was this. And as always, was being spoken a lot about doctors. I think I started that because I mentioned in the chat box about being sensitive towards chronic ailments of patients. So the question was, doctors are accused of being insensitive, as patients say that even the doctor should feel my pain to understand. So, I mean, is it really valid that as a doctor, medical doctor, I should feel everyone's pain to understand their pain? So here Sister Manda had to say that a doctor should be both sympathetic and empathetic. Sympathy means to understand, and empathy means also to feel If doctors feel pain, they can't serve you. So it is not really feeling the pain physically, but it's at a mental level, feeling that. They understand it as professionals and they are prescribing what you need. And some doctors, they may not be able to show it on their face, but it doesn't mean that they are not empathetic towards your pain. So it was a very complex answer. And let's move on to another few questions. We have some more time. My daughter is very sensitive to my comments, and it reminds me here that recently we heard an adolescent girl, the mother just snatched her mobile from her and saying that, what is this? Entire day you're on this. I'm not going to give this to you now for the next 1 hour. And the girl was so overwhelmed, she just went and committed suicide. So this was the story which I wanted to share here. So this shows the girl was highly ultra sensitive towards her mother's comments. So how do we make sure that kids are not negatively sensitive? And how do we, as parents, be sensitive towards their needs? So she said, Sister Manda, that this is the current times. Parents need to lead with example. I mean, if you are yourself on this mobile phone all the time, what example can you set? So spend quality time with kids to generate a loving feeling in being with the family. And also parents have to relate to children with lots and lots of love and understanding, which I think at the Brahma Kumaris, we had it from all the seniors of the organization who really gave a lot of love and understanding to all of us. And at that time, fortunately, we didn't have a lot of mobile phones, a few, maybe 20, 30 years ago. So people had all the time for each other, right? Then the next question was, please, could you explain what is drishti? So drishti is spiritual vision, sending and receiving pure vibrations through your soul conscious vision and seeing each other as the peaceful beings that we are. And the last question I'll take in the interest of time, that can meditation help me develop sensitivity? Absolutely, that's the answer. That's what we have been doing since the last 1 hour, because you're touching your core of being yourself. And once you develop that, you do that for others as well. I think I'll take this last sharing. Any examples of seniors from the organization in whom Sister Manda could see the sensitivity in dealing with others? So she mentioned about our past General Secretary. It's been exactly 2 months he's left the body, very near and dear Nirvair Bhai Sahab. So she said that he was sensitive enough and he knew that for service, what conveniences people need. And everyone would approach him to speak out and share. So people now feel that since he's gone away physically, but at a subtle level, he's with us. So they say that who is there now for us? His door was always open to everyone. So it was just one example of a person who was quite sensitive towards others' needs and feelings. So I think I'll stop sharing here because time is up. Yes, we have our guest speaker with us already. Thank you so much, Sister Judy, for being there. And, and hang on, before I give it to you, I need to really introduce you again. It's been a long hiatus now that you haven't been with us, but you have been with us in the workshops. And looking at your biodata, though it's 35 years, I'll add 5 years because it's been almost more than 5 years. This biodata, I think, is a little bit old. So Sister Judy Johnson has worked as a facilitator and a coaching consultant in experiential learning. That's what we are doing here. Leadership development, excuse me, and organizational effectiveness. She holds a bachelor degree in social work and a master's in adult education. So there we are. We're all being adults and ready to get educated from her. And what I must say, she's known for her insight and her ability to go into the depth of any subject in a light and very entertaining way. I've experienced that in person, so I can really vouch for that. She has a balance of reflective, creative, and interactive activities to assist individuals and groups to use their natural wisdom and inner power. And she is the author of 5 books, and including a young adult novel which she wrote with her 2 daughters. And to name the books, The 7 Secrets of the Universe, Beautiful Thoughts, and she's co-authored also A to Z Spiritual Literacy, Living as an Art. I'm sure we'll be looking at, after we finish this series of values, we are planning to look at the arts, the celestial arts, which we will need her help for that. And the last one being Return to Source, the God Experience. So as we speak, she currently coordinates the activities of the Brahma Kumaris in Halifax and the Atlantic region of Canada. And as always, a few lines on sensitivity and related to her. So in this world, where people are intrinsically hypersensitive and towards each other's needs a bit indifferent and insensitive, Sister Judy comes up with methods of how to become sensitive so that our relations bloom and we become more positive. Weaknesses and vices have indeed held us so very captive. We want to escape their influence and run like a fugitive, because now we know that the silence world is our true motive. So let's travel there with the supreme remembrance as our locomotive, so that we become worthy of our position in golden age, which is still tentative, and impart this world the treatment of Raj Yoga, which then indeed becomes palliative. So with this, over to Sister Judy. Thank you so much.
Om Shanti Manoj. Locomotive. That was a good stretch. I like that. Hello, everyone. Well done. Well done. Hello. Nice to see some familiar faces. I know I'm not seeing everybody, but I'm seeing a lot. Oh, that's great. Hello, Claudia Ben, Anu. Nice to see you. And who else have we got? I see Mireille. I see some of my Canadian friends here. Oh, yeah. Good to see all of you. So I have pinned you, so I can't see myself, which is great. And I will share a couple of slides, but thank you, Manoj, and thank you, Claudia, and thank you, Anuben, and thank you, the whole team and all the translators that have kept this thread going for so long. Who knew we had this many values and virtues and qualities? It's really remarkable, actually. I feel really proud of all of you, and I feel really proud that it's kept going for all of us. I know it started in COVID, but it kept going because it had value, pardon the pun. You know, it kept going because it had value. So congratulations to all of you. I mean, you're now on hour 3 of sensitivity. So how much more could we say? So we'll just be silent for an hour and you're going to catch my thoughts, okay? Actually, I did listen to Amanda's talk, which I found quite wonderful. And I listened to some of the workshop, not all. It's still Bogue and family time breakfast here in Halifax. So I stepped away to listen in for a little bit, and then I went back to say goodbye to everybody. So I did catch a little bit, and I can see that you've really gone quite deeply and quite well into the sensitivity to the feelings of others and the needs of others and the concerns of others. And in a way, we really need this to harmonize at this point. You know, if we're not sensitive to the vibe, Baba's vibe, everyone's pure vibe, the vibe of the golden age that's pulling us, you know, if we're not sensitive to a higher vibe, we're going to continue to trudge along, to really drag along at a lower vibration. So this sensitivity is really important right now, I feel, in our world. So lovely that we've got 3 hours with it. So I thought I should slow down. I'm watching Mireille's face to see if I'm going too fast. I know. Slow down. I know. I get excited. All right. Okay. So here we go. So I thought I would explore another angle. I think it's the same angle. It's definitely sensitivity, but I like to come at it from a little bit of a different angle. And we're going to end up in the same place, I think. But I was thinking quite a bit about this topic, and I was thinking about how we are tuning in at this point to a very subtle vibration. And that subtle vibration is spirituality. It is a spiritual truth of all of us. And, like a little tuning fork, it's very, very subtle. And I know few people who can actually tune their instrument exactly to the tuning fork. They get close, like if you've ever played the guitar or a piano, you're turning the string, you're trying to get it exactly like the tuning fork, but it's actually very, very difficult. And most of our ears are not tuned to perfect pitch. And perfect pitch means completely accurate. If the tuning fork is a C, then that note in the air, I would be able to catch it and tune myself perfectly. Whether it's a voice and I'm singing a note, and I'm slightly off because I can't quite get it to perfect pitch. Most of us at this time are not perfect pitch. Fair to say? I didn't do the research, but I think there are very few. There's a small minority of people in the world who sing, who are musicians, who do have perfect pitch. So I feel like sensitivity is actually the quality that helps us tune in to perfect pitch. So I can tune in to the highest vibration. But I think it's really just a core quality. It's my natural capacity as a soul, because I am a being of energy. I am a being that vibrates. I have a frequency. I have a note, my note. You each have your notes. And we're tuning into the supreme note, right? We're trying to tune into that. So it's just my natural capacity to perceive. We could say to catch, to discern, to pick up. All of these would be synonyms, would be the same idea. But it's just my natural capacity to perceive. Now, Manda talked about perceiving through the sense organs, and I would like to explore that with you because it's usually the sense organs that are perceiving. But actually, if you think about perception, the eyes see things, the physical eyes see things, but the soul observes. It is the soul that picks up something from all that has been seen. I see a million things every day, but I don't pick up all of them. I don't catch all of them. I don't perceive all of them. Or if I'm perceiving many of them, I can't manage all of them. So I focus my attention, to what I can. There's just a natural capacity of the soul. So I thought I would do a little quiz with you and see how you're picking up power, your sensitivity power is. So here we go. I'm just going to share a message with you, and I'm going to ask you what you perceive. So here's the message. I'm really happy to be with you today. Shall I do it again? See what you perceived. Okay, so here we go. Pay attention. I'm really happy to be with you today.
Really, it's opposite. You're not happy at all.
You are perceiving the opposite, but on what basis are you perceiving that?
The body language, yeah.
The body language,
Expression.
the intonation,
Yeah.
the expression, expressions. Thank you, Rochelle. Okay, so I'm not
Tone of voice. Maybe.
Tone of voice, very nice. Yes, the voice. Okay, we all have different clues, and those who aren't seeing me, maybe on the phone, then the tone of voice would be primary, right? If you're seeing me, the body language, I can't even make eye contact because I'm telling a lie. So if I make eye contact, you'll know. So, yeah, everything we communicate all day as human beings comes through three main dimensions. We, as spiritual students, have something much more subtle. We can catch vibrations. But every day, in the way we communicate with each other, we're using these three main dimensions, right? We're using our words, we're using our body language, and we're using our tone of voice, or they call them nonverbals, because sometimes it's not a sound, it's more of a gap, a great long gap. I'm really happy to be here today. Like it's the gap, it's the tone, it's the gap, it's the all of that, right? We're using this. What percentage of each of these three, when we are trying to perceive, when we are trying to be sensitive and pick up an accuracy of a message, like the tuning fork, when I'm trying to pick up the accurate message from another person, how important, which of these is the most important? The words, the body language, or the nonverbals? I'm really happy to be here today. Which was the most important in that?
Body language.
Body language. Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing chat box here. Let me see if I can see the sarcasm. That's great. The tone. Yeah, the nonverbal.
The body language.
Yeah, the body language. Lovely. Okay. I'm nervous to put up my chat box because I think it becomes a black box on your screen, doesn't it? If I read the chat box. No, you can't see. Oh, perfect. Okay, great. So I can keep my chat box open and see what you're saying. Thank you. Okay, so typically it looks like this. Words are about 7%. Very little of what we communicate with each other is through our words. Body language is 55%. At least I chose good words. Thank you, Rena. Yeah, the words are very small. In fact, my words contradicted my body language and my tone of voice, correct? So the nonverbals, which is tone and everything, are 38%. I hope my math is accurate there. But it's like that. Body language, very important. Nonverbals, second important. Words, very little. Now, what's interesting is in the Western world, we live in the cultures that are known as low context cultures. So the lowest context culture in the world is Swiss German. So what that means is the way they communicate, the way they speak to each other, the way they understand each other is entirely based on words. They say what they mean, and they only mean it if they say it. Okay? No context. Whereas, let's say Vietnam, Indonesia, Southeast Asia is very strong. India is closer to the other side, quite a bit closer, are known as high context cultures. So in a high context culture, the words in particular have to be understood in context. Only in context does it make any sense. So I will use Indonesia where I lived, and I know the language there a little. In Indonesia, they don't even have a verb tense. So when you say, they don't have past, present, future in their language. So when you say, saya pergi ke Togo, I go to store. You say the same thing if you went, if you're going, or if you're there. So the only way you can understand saya pergi ke Togo, I go to store, I go store, I go store, I go store. The only way you can understand, was I at the store like just now, is if I have a grocery bag full of food in my hands. Or I'm going to the store, I have an empty bag and my wallet. And I'm getting in my car. So high context means we have to understand somebody in the context, the meaning of what they're saying in context. I believe this is true. So you can imagine the intercultural difficulties between a low context culture, which relies entirely on words, and a high context, which is all about the context gives the meaning, right? Very difficult to understand each other. I thought you meant this. I didn't understand because I read the context differently, right? So even though words are very small, context is usually pretty big, but most important of all of these, and spiritual students have this, is we pick up vibration. And this is what sensitivity helps us with. Beyond the body language, beyond the words, beyond the nonverbals, is the vibrations we can pick up from someone, because people can be very good at saying, I'm really happy to be here today. And something will just feel just slightly off. And we trust that. We trust that if we're paying attention, right? Because we're picking up vibrations. So very important very important with sensitivity that I know where to look to understand what someone else is trying to convey.
Namaste. Nanu is saying, Aviji, namaste.
We got the context there. Someone at home needs to talk to him. No problem. Okay. Okay. But you know what I find interesting about this sensitivity thing? It is just a capacity of the soul to pick up. We can pick up anything, anywhere. But this capacity can be used either by ego or by the soul and God. So who's using my natural capacity of sensitivity is a question I pose to all of us, because Amanda talked last week, and I know when we think of sensitivity, we often tend to think, and I tried to put a touch me not plant, but I didn't have one. So this is a pointy plant over here on the ego side. When ego is using my sensitivity, I become either highly easily hurt, or I become extremely defensive. If my sensitivity is being used by ego, right? If it's being used by the soul and God, it's another story. It's a very nice story. But I want to explore the ego side first. So given that this is just the capacity of the soul, who's using it determines whether it becomes a value or not. Okay, so I have a quiz for you. I have taken a list of indicators of ego. And I've taken this list from the brilliant work of Spark in the Brahma Kumaris, who have done a project they called Fixing My Stage in the Golden Age. And it's a project I dedicated a couple of years to studying and doing programs about around the world, because it was based on, it's quite sensitive actually. It really requires a subtle awareness to discern what level of effort am I making in my spiritual journey right now. And they created a set of tools to help us discern, to help us pick up, to really be sensitive to where I'm at in my own spiritual journey. And one of the tools was a short list of 7 questions to check to see to what extent is ego using you, the soul. To what extent is ego still present in your experience? So I'm going to read you these 7 questions. And I don't even, I mean, you can write the questions down. I'm happy to take a picture of them or put them in the chat box if you want, because actually don't write the question down because it won't be as effective. I will give them to you. What I really like you to do is just see what happens inside of you when you hear the question, because you'll know instantly. There'll be an instant response inside of you and you'll go, oh, yes, that's still there. And you'll cha-ching, cha-ching, you'll see all the situations where, yes, that's still there or not. But I'm happy to share the questions with you after, just so that you can, and I'll read them again after. So why don't we do this twice? I'll read it once. If you can just sort of close your eyes and be with yourself and just see what comes up. And then I'll read it again so you could write the question. Fair? Okay, so here we go. And we're doing this to discern who's using my sensitivity, this natural capacity of the soul. Who's using it right now? Is ego using it? Okay, first question. So we're thinking about a variety of situations. So here's a situation. How do you feel and how do you behave if and when someone else takes credit for the work you've done? This happens. Maybe not all the time, but surely it's happened to you at some point. So how do you feel if someone takes credit for what you've done? It's just a quick checking. There's no right, wrong answer. This is just for you to see how ego might be using sensitivity still. Yeah. Okay. Second question. How do you feel and how do you behave if, when someone laughs at your ideas? Okay. Next one. How do you feel? Thank you, Olga. How do you feel and how do you behave when you share about any service or any kind of collective work that you've done? And maybe if we can not share in the chat box just now so that everybody can just sort of be with their own thoughts just for now, because this is a self-check right now, okay? So when you're sharing the work that your team has done, or maybe the service that you've been involved in, how do you feel and behave when you share news of that work or of that project or of that service? Who do you give the credit to? Okay. Next one. How do you feel? How do you behave? Oh, sorry, last one again. Okay, so if you're sharing service news or project work that you've been involved in, who do you give the credit to? So some of us, never take any credit for anything. We're always giving it to others. So-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. And some of us are more inclined to say, here's my project, and here's what I've done, and not so much mention the team or others. So it's just checking yourself on that one. Next one, when you are praised, what happens inside of you? Do you immediately reject it? Say, no, that wasn't me. That was God. It was God. Thank you. Don't say thank you to me. Do you do that, which is false humility, which is ego? Or do you graciously say, thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And in your mind, you say, I thank you, God. Thank you, God. That was good. So when you're being praised, what awareness do you maintain? Do you maintain the awareness of an instrument? Okay, 3 more. When I'm in a group of others who are lacking in some way, so there may be lots of weaknesses, maybe they're not doing things right, How do you feel? How do you behave? Okay, 2 more. Oh, if someone is presenting something in our morning class, we have somebody who reads the class every morning, but anywhere, when the teacher is speaking or the teacher saying, and you find that the way they're reading it isn't right, or you've got an idea that you think will really add, what do you do? Do you jump in to add, or do you wait patiently until asked? Okay, and 1 more. And don't worry, we're not going to share our results on this. This is just a little self-check, okay? Because it's a continuum. We still all have ego in us, of course. But the question is, who's using my sensitivity, right? The last one. If I'm not offered an opportunity and somebody else I consider less qualified is given a chance, how do I feel? Okay. All right, Manoj, how'd you do? I'm kidding. You don't have to share your answers. Yes, I will send you the photos of the questions. No problem. Do you want me to read them again, or it might be better just to photo them, hey? Yeah, I'm just going to send them now into the chat box. Okay, so the reason we did that, and maybe any reflections doing that, because the whole reason for that was just to check who's using this natural capacity of the soul, which is to be sensitive, to pick up things, right? If ego's using it, then what I will pick up is disregard, disrespect. I will pick up faults, weaknesses, flaws. I will pick up those things if my sensitivity is being used by ego. And yes, I could certainly give the source, the spark source. I might have to send it. That's a big document and I can't access it now, but I could send it certainly to Anu or Manoj or whoever would like that resource. It's quite a wonderful resource. Yeah. Okay. Great. So if ego's using this sensitivity, then we know what that looks like. We know what that looks like, basically. But I want the soul and God. So we have this practice here. And the practice is, I know that I, the soul, throughout the day, am picking up a lot of vibrations from the world, from other people. And I can't, much more than I'm able to process or even interpret accurately. And this is where our spiritual knowledge is so helpful for us. It helps us interpret what I'm picking up. Because the sensitivity is always picking up. It's just what I am. I'm a constant antenna. I'm picking up vibrations all the time. But what do I do with those vibrations? I need to make sense of them, right? So that's where this knowledge helps us, spiritual knowledge. But most importantly, we're going to start, before we interpret all of that, we're going to start, because it's data or data. That's all it is. I'm picking up stuff. We're going to start with this practice of filtering. And what we do here in Raj Yoga, in the Brahma Kumaris world, is we just learn to filter. We learn to filter what we're picking up. And what we filter is we focus. The sieve is so fine that we are focusing our selective attention. We train ourselves to be sensitive to the beautiful, the positive of life, of situations, and the virtues in others. So this is a training program we're in. And only when I am training myself like this does sensitivity become a virtue or a value. When I become sensitive to the positive and the beautiful in life, and the positive and the beautiful in others. Does that make sense? So it's who's using that natural capacity of the soul. When I'm using it with this practice of a filter, and that'll be the soul using it. I'll get there in a minute. But when I'm using it for the good, in other words, this natural capacity, then it becomes a value. It becomes a virtue. And I become sensitive to the positive and the beautiful in life. Otherwise, I will be sensitive to the negative, to the disregard, to the insults, to the blame. And that's not a value, is it? That's not a virtue at all. So let's just think for a moment about our own level of sensitivity. Can I perceive the beauty in others? And to what extent? And then especially in those I'm having trouble with, those with whom I have some kind of karmic account. Can I still perceive their beauty? Can I still perceive their virtues? This is me, the soul, using my capacity to be sensitive in a positive way. This is our training and our practice, right? So you can think of those people you know. Sometimes the ones we're least able to perceive, to pick up, to be sensitive to the beauty in are ourselves, actually. Sometimes we are less sensitive to our own beauty, and we easily see someone else's virtues. So turning that sensitivity inwards to the self is also very important, so I can perceive the beauty in me. In particular, though, it has to be a practice every day, or it gets rusty. And in the moments when I need it, it's not there. So am I practicing seeing virtues all the time? That's our practice. Can I perceive, can I pick up, am I sensitive to the cries of those in sorrow? We hear this often. We heard it this morning. We heard it yesterday. The collective unconscious is weeping. The collective unconscious is crying out. Can I pick that up? And does it elicit a compassion response in me rather than a fear response or a sorrow response? Again, if ego's using it, my capacity to be sensitive, then I will feel disheartened, hopeless, angry, frustrated with the state of the world. If the soul or God is using this quality of sensitivity, then I will feel compassion. I will be able to pick up the cries of sorrow, but I will feel compassion inside. Can I discern my own pure intention? Am I sensitive to, in and amongst all the mixed feelings inside of me, can I pick up? Am I sensitive to my own pure intention? And can I feel the pure intention in someone else? This is part of our training, to look for the pure intention, even if it's all mixed up with a bunch of other impure intentions when I'm with somebody. Am I sensitive to, am I tuning my fork into their pure intention? Because there's always a pure intention there behind the impure intentions, right? So somebody might be coming at me in a very ego-filled way, but I can see what they're really looking for is respect. And it's not that this project has to happen this way, that, what they're really calling for. And that's a pure intention. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So can I feel that? Am I sensitive to that? Can I discern? Can I tell? Am I sensitive to when I'm on target with my own purpose? Can I tell when I'm on track, off track? Again, tuning fork. If I'm trying to tune my instrument, me, the soul, to that a higher vibration, can I tell when I'm not on? So I'm playing a C chord on the guitar, and I think it's perfectly matched with the tuning fork, and it is so flat. And everyone else is crying to listen to me play because it is not pleasant, but I can't tell. Those of us that are tone deaf live that experience, so they tend not to sing, unfortunately, still. But anyways, can I tell when I'm on track with my purpose or not? That's a sensitivity issue. And how do I know what is true? This is where sensitivity is really valuable to us, as I can tell when something is true. So think for a moment, how can you tell? How do you know when something's true?
You feel right. There's a feeling, maybe.
There's a feeling. You feel right. And what is that feeling? So what does right mean?
Feeling calm or content,
Uh-huh.
satisfied about a thing. If there
Okay.
are thoughts.
That's nice, Anu. So it doesn't create discord inside or distress or any turbulence. That's lovely description. Yeah. Untruths do to create a dissonance of some sort, don't they? Yeah, that's nice. Anyone else? How do you know when something's true?
The vibrations plays a very good role on that.
Vibrations play. Yeah. We feel is aligned with Baba's teachings. Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm reading the chat box now. Thank you, everyone. We feel proud. Nice. Oh, yeah. Look, somebody. Oh, gosh, Linda. Rena did that, wrote down all the questions. Isn't that brilliant? Thank you, dear. Now I don't have to send it. Thank you. Okay. So I want to do another little quiz with you. And I'm going to give you word pairs. And I'm going to ask you to pick of the two words, which one is the highest vibration word? Okay. So ready? Here we go. First one. Beautiful or pretty? Which is the highest vibration? Okay, I'm going to read the chat. Beautiful. Others? Beautiful. Okay. And here's the real question. Why? Why do you say beautiful has the highest vibration?
Because it's beautiful.
Sorry.
Beautiful goes for like vibration, the sense of other people as well. Pretty is kind of connected with just the physical beauty. That's how I see it.
Nice. Okay. So beautiful is deeper, maybe, and it can apply to non-physical, whereas pretty tends to be physical. Lovely. Okay, here's another one. Praising or flattering? Which is the higher vibration word?
Praising.
Praising. And again, tricky. Why? Why do you pick praising? Why is that a higher vibe?
Intentions are, intention is to appreciate somebody.
Lovely. Lovely. I mean, these are just letters on a page. They're just words, and yet you can feel the frequency in it, right? This is using sensitivity to discern a vibration, right? So even in the words we use, you could say, we all know flattering. That's very different than praising. So the intention there. Okay, a couple more. Let's see. We're actually exercising your intellect, because it's the intellect that's the tuning fork that picks up, right? So which is a higher vibration, blunt or candid? Easy, no?
Candid.
Candid. And why?
Blunt is very sharp, cutting off someone. Candid is more of clarity. Yeah.
Blunt can be hurtful as well sometimes.
Exactly. So blunt has got no softening to it. Candid is honest, but it feels, what's the word? Genuine, sincere.
Natural.
Yeah, natural. So there's a purity in it, right? Yeah, lovely. Impulsive or spontaneous?
Spontaneous.
And
Spontaneous.
why?
Because impulsive has a little bit of negative touch to it. Spontaneity is more natural and pure.
Right. So impulsive could be without self-control, right? Who would you rather be with, in a dark road late at night trying to get home on time? A friend who's impulsive or spontaneous? Spontaneous, right? Yeah. Yeah. Someone who's not going to get you in danger. Correct. Okay. All right. Determined or stubborn? Determined.
Determined.
Why?
Because stubbornness again has a negative vibes to it. Determination has a positivity to it. Okay,
Yeah.
it can take time. You don't rush things.
Yeah.
In stubbornness,
stubborn-
sometimes people rush things and spoil it.
Right. So stubborn's got some ego in it, right? And determined is like stamina, like a drive or a positivity of the soul. Okay, I'm just going to do maybe two more. Here we go. Striving or driven?
Striving.
Driven.
I think driven.
Striving.
Okay.
It's okay. Some say driven. Okay, why striving? This is tricky, but
You
you're
are
using your
aspiring.
sensitivity. You're aspiring to something. Striving is aspiring, correct. And what is driven? Driven has got compulsion,
force.
in it, right? It's got compulsion. It's like a force in it. Yeah. And again, it can be context dependent. On a context you might be in, driven might be a really good thing, but compared to striving, yeah, of the two, it would be striving. Okay, one last one. Formal or civil?
Formal.
Civil, formal. Civil, formal. We got different ideas here. Okay. And those who pick civil, why?
BK language, civilized.
Civilized, yeah.
Civil
And
war.
formal can be like a little strict, right?
Mm.
Whereas civil is high quality character, civilization. Yeah. Okay, why did we do all of these words? Why would we explore these words like this?
To check our sensitivities.
To check your sensitivity. And guess what? We all did really well, didn't we? We all, we could, a couple of them, but we all did really well. But the most important thing is that we stopped to then ask ourselves why. And did you notice how every one of us at that moment were stumped? Not sure. We had to think because it wasn't clear to us. Why? Because the sensitivity is the capacity, but who's using it? When the soul uses it, then the soul stops and reflects and makes meaning. So then you made meaning, because it's deeper. Beauty is deeper than pretty. Candid is more pure, more innocent than blunt, right? This is how sensitivity, when used by the soul, is incredibly empowering, incredibly useful. So that's why we did that. And because truth is a vibration that resonates more deeply than facts. So our sense organs pick up facts, but the soul picks up the vibration of truth. Sensitivity helps us. Sensitivity is what we're using to pick up the vibration of truth in anything, in everything, in everyone, in every situation. It's a vibration that resonates with the truth in me. And God's vibration is the highest vibration. And only using the soul's capacity to be sensitive can I pick up God's highest vibration. When I'm connected to God, I become sensitive. to the positive and the pure. That's why I have to be connected to God for this capacity of sensitivity to be used in the right way, to be used to detect, to pick up, to catch only that which is positive and pure. And when I'm connected to my core, so the depth of the ocean inside of me, when I'm connected to my core, I activate the sensitivity in me. So between me, the core of me, and God's highest vibration, those two resonate together. And when I am, we call it soul conscious, but when I'm connected to that, and I'm connected to God, then sensitivity is being used to catch the pure and the positive. So then I become sensitive to the experience of these beautiful qualities inside myself as me, inside everyone else as well. And then I get to enjoy the soul, the subtle experience of these qualities that underpins everything in life. So sensitivity helps me experience myself as the soul, the subtle experience of all the beautiful qualities, pure and positive qualities in me, in every situation, even in this old, sometimes ugly world. There are always subtle, beautiful things in every situation. Sensitivity helps me find them, see them, catch them, pick them up, vibrate with them, which gives them energy to come alive. Somebody asked about the sense organs. I begin to use my soul capacity of sensitivity to use my organs in a pure way. And I thought this would be kind of a fun little exercise. So let's just play with this. We have 5 sense organs, right? We've got touch, we've got sight, we've got taste, we've got smell, we've got sound, right? We've got all the 5 sense organs. What if we were using the sensitivity in the soul? What if we were using this capacity to use our sense organs in a different way? So for instance, what if I started using my smell to think for a moment, what does happiness smell like? There'll be some rewiring happening in your brain as we do this, because it's like me. So take a moment and just think about that. What would happiness smell like? Red roses. I thought of cinnamon buns. That's great. Red roses is great. Because my granny used to make me cinnamon buns, so it made me happy. So there's memories associated. Okay, red. So, but what does happiness smell like? Imagine using each of our 5 sense organs, but driven by the soul qualities. Another way to train our sense organs, actually, to be sensitive to the pure and the positive. So I use them in the right way. Fragrance, lovely, Nanda. Okay, so let's play with another one. What does love look like? I mean, that's maybe a little easier. We see a hug, or we see a kindness, or we see, somebody giving something to somebody, generosity. Maybe what does love look like? Looks like a sunset. Lovely, Joelle. So I'm using my eyes to see love in the world, but then I'm also using my eyes to express love, right? So I'm using my sense organs in a much more sensitive way. Okay? What does peace, pardon the pun with the peas here, what does peace taste like? I don't mean they taste like peas. Somehow this picture just went there. But anyways, what does peace taste like? Love is drishti from Baba. Lovely, Reina. What does peace taste like? Oh, that's an interesting one. Again, the brain's rewiring, trying to figure this out. What does it taste like?
Good digestion.
Good vibration. Totally, says Amit. Peace.
Digestion.
Good digestion. Thank you. Gulab jamun is what peace tastes like. That's great. Or it tastes sweet. Or water. Lovely. Yeah, lovely. Water. Peace. Cool water. That's beautiful. Yeah, for me, you know what? It would be hot water. It would be a hot cup of tea. Would be peace. That's very nice. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Okay. And the last, oh, I got two more. What does purity smell like? Clothes that have just come in off the clothesline from outside. So what does purity smell like? We're using our sense organs.
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Manoj. Sandalwood paste. Oh, that's nice for peace. Yeah. Does purity smell like? The smell of earth after a first rain. That's beautiful. Sandalwood. Purity smells like sandalwood. Yes, I would associate it with that also. Very nice. Okay. And one
Baby
last.
powder.
Baby powder. Good one. That's a good one. Very good. Okay. And what does bliss sound like?
Temple bell.
A temple bell. I had thought a bell as well. Yes. Bliss sounds like a temple bell. It could sound like the ocean waves. You know, the rhythmic, the ocean waves, the meditation bowl, the Tibetan bowl. Lovely. That's what bliss sounds like.
Wind
Sometimes
in the trees.
the wind in the trees. That's a good one. Someone said the other day, you know, when babies kind of gurgle when they're happy, like that. And someone said a cat, when a cat mews, like when they're very, very deeply content, and they make that sound, whatever that is. Okay, here we go. Fireworks. Okay. So I just kind of playing around with, could we use our sense organs to be sensitive in a different way? Just playing. You feel the neural networks going a little crazy, but it was good, wasn't it? We did it. All of us did it. Very nice. Okay. So the soul itself is picking up vibrations, but the sense organs. Oh, there's one more. What is the sensation of power? What does it feel like? So if you're touching something, what would you touch? So it's not inside of me. What does power feel like? That would be spiritually. But what's the sensation when you touch power? A pure, deep breath, says Joelle. That's nice. You know, I think of touching a really strong tree that's been standing. You know, it feels like power. Spider-Man. Great. Okay, any others? Sunlight on your skin feels like power. That's nice. Okay, so sensitivity guides me on my journey to my destination of being whole. So those were some of my thoughts about me and God. You know, we hung out a while and we talked about it, and this is what came into the intellect, was this beautiful, amazing capacity of the soul. That is sensitivity. And then who's using it? And how can I be using sensitivity in the right way so it actually becomes a value? It becomes valuable to me, and it becomes like a virtue. And then using this filter, the practice of filtering, I'm only seeing the pure and the positive. And connecting to God, I'm only catching the highest vibrations. But I know I can. We all know that we're very sensitive beings. And so I just have to watch and make sure that the 7 questions of ego are not using this natural capacity of the soul. But it's me and God that are using sensitivity so that I can be a sensitive soul in the right way, in a way that's benevolent. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Even that has a good vibration, the word. Well, thank you so much for taking us so creatively into really experiencing the sensitivity through the words which you mentioned, and having the 5 sense organs, the rewiring of the brain. Fantastic. I would request Sister Claudia now to please propose the vote of thanks. Over to you. Thank you.
Oh, Shanti, it was so nice to hear you, Judy, and we feel like excited too, just by seeing the way how you speak. So although sensitivity makes easier too, because you explain so nice way. And we pick up so many different points like you showed today. How do I discern about my own pure intention? So, and also the intentions of others. Also, the point that I like it is sense organs is pick up facts, and the soul picks up the truth. I quite like that point. The sense organs. So we sense organs when we are talking just about the fact, that means sense organs is through the ego is working there. But if we are with the soul, then we pick up the truth. Yeah. And then also, I like that point when I'm connected to my core, I activate sensitivity. So that means we have to really do this homework to connect to the core. So I think you explain deep things in a very easy way, because you are always easy. That's why we like to be around you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Yeah.
That's
So
very
it's so
sweet.
nice. So nice to be with you. And so thank you for being with us today. It was very
Yeah.
special. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia Ben. So nice to see you and hear your voice as well. And yeah, thank you, Manoj. Bye. It's delightful to be here. I enjoy being here. So thank you for the
So
invitation.
much. We are looking forward for the Arts of Life series. We'll speak about that later sometime,
Oh,
and you'll be a regular person on that. Because it's your invention, I must say. You had told me when I was in Halifax that we should do
yes.
that as well. Fine, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so before I forget, I'll just ask Sister Anu to please do the announcements. Quickly take the photograph as well, and then the closing meditation. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, amazing experience. Thank you, Sister Judy. We get so much more than what we can take, and we have gotten deeper insight. Let me just quickly share the upcoming programs. So the next episode would be episode number 104 on innocence, in Hindi, Bholapan. So I'm sure we are all looking forward to it, and it's happening after 1 week, Saturday, 7th of December, 7 a.m. West Coast time. That is, 8:30 p.m. India time. So time has changed. Sorry about the typo. And for that, we'll have our senior sister Sudha Didi from Moscow, Russia. She is the general director of Brahma Kumaris of Moscow in Russia. So please mark your calendar and join us then. And also we'll have silence retreat on innocence on 8th of December, 9 a.m. India time. That is 7:30 p.m. for West Coast, West Canada, and afternoon for Europe. So we'll welcome everybody who would like to join. Please note that it is based on the Brahma Kumaris teaching. So but if you are not a Brahma Kumari student, you may find something new, but it would give a good experience. So we welcome you to join us to experience the silence. And the workshop on innocence will be after 2 weeks. Again, it is Saturday, 14th December. So we are going back to our regular day, that is Saturday, same time as today. So please note and join us then. This is our beautiful calendar. So that explains our programs. We'll be letting you know as the date comes closer. And check us out on our websites. That's vihasa.in and vancouver.brahmakumaris.ca. And all the videos, including today's, you can find on our YouTube channels as well as the playlists. Thank you everyone. And we'll have a photo with the speaker to mark this moment memorable that we took. Sensitivity, truly pure sensitivity when the soul is using it. Yeah. If you want to be in the photo, please. There you go. Thank you. Over to you, Manoj.
Okay, so over to Sister Judy for the closing meditation on sensitivity. Over to you.
Om Shanti, everyone. I think we now understand what sensitivity is, so I'll ask you just to join me. You may want to close your eyes because you've been on screen so long, or you can look at a picture nearby. But I invite you just to come inside yourself. We know how to do this, behind the eyes, to that point of energy that is the vibrating energy of the self. It's not inert, it's not dead, it's very alive and active, energetic. And this is the being that I am, the soul. It's my very nature to be sensitive. I can pick up vibrations from a distance. I can pick up the most subtle vibration, just the vibration of peace inside of me. And I can pick up the vibration of God, the highest vibration, the most subtle vibration in the universe. And I feel that energy now touching me, the soul. My sensitivity awakens, but it purifies and it focuses so that I now only see the beautiful, the uplifting, the pure, the positive in myself and everyone in my world, including these beautiful souls on the screen with us here today. So I take this capacity of sensitivity and I let God use it. And I, the soul, use it for benefit. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much once again for your fantastic creative expression and your beautiful insights. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Judy. Thank you, everyone. See you soon again. Bye now.